So, kind of like basically, what was the history of magic? What was the history of divination? What's it all about? What created it? Well, I'm beginning to think that to a certain extent it could in fact be genetic and evolutionary biology having a part to play in the creation of the divination mindset, the magical mindset, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if what I've been reading is correct, and that there's like 15 to 20% of the population who have the sensitivity gene, who are more sensitive to emotions, thoughts, and feelings. This is like apparently it's a proven fact. I mean, I haven't seen the primary research about it, so I can't guarantee that. But this is like across cultures, throughout the world, a percentage of people have sensitivity, including myself, which is probably why I ended up becoming a professional tarot reader. And I have like a big heart for other people. Therefore, I have lots of empathy, lots of sympathy for other people in their suffering. I mean, even though like being professionally in that position can be incredibly draining, because all you're doing is you're hearing other people's issues, other people's problems all the time. It's it can be very complex. It can be very difficult as a form of work, but it appears like it's a fact that there will be people who are like that, just as there are people who are possibly built with like the aggression gene that makes them better for military service or like fighting, and then others who are better at planning, and maybe they're better at like sorting out the harvest and planning a hunt and that sort of thing. And then of course there's those who've got like the mentality of the gatherer. I think there's some information out there which suggests that I'm not being sexist when I say this deliberately. I'm not being sexist, okay? Just like, don't think for a second I'm being sexist. I'm merely stating something which I've read, which makes some sense. And that's that in ancient societies, that women would do more gathering and men would do more hunting, because that relates to the male mindset and the female mindset, which some people might say, says he like about to put his foot straight into his mouth, why the pattern of women's shopping is different to the pattern of a man's shopping. If you must have seen those like cartoons on Facebook of like a plan of a shop and a little red dot signifying how a man would do his shopping. Diddly buy the thing. Diddly check out. So that's it. That's how the man would do it. Find what you're after, hunt it, kill it, and then get out. That's the way of things, which is basically the way in which I do my shopping, if I'm really honest. I know where the aisle is for the free from food. I know where the aisle is for the vegetables. I go there. I make a quick detour to buy myself my shower gel and deodorant, and then I'm straight out. Whereas a woman like goes in there, has like, oh, that looks fun, that looks interesting, and then goes there, oh, that looks fun, oh, I could use some of that. The creative mindset. Which would make some sense. I mean, if you want a cohesive society, you've not only got to have like people who hunt, and you've got to have also people who gather, you've got to have people who build, you've got to have people who want to be sufficiently destructive to be able to make a fire, and so on and so forth, and all that stuff going on in whatever order. I mean, this is just like a broad sketch of me thinking aloud, okay? But then you got to think about the psychology of the entire tribe, and who would be there to be the aggressive strong leader, who would be there to try and keep everyone together and try and make sure everything would be peaceful and harmonious. Maybe that becomes your medicine man, like me, I suppose, and fulfilling that function, being a weird online tarot reader to people all across the world, not necessarily like in my own streets. Yeah, but it's the era of the internet, so that's the way in which things are, so we can be more specialized. And then everyone's like designed in a certain way, so to speak. Like, okay, it's wrong to use the word design, but I think you get where I'm coming from here. I was reading, well, I told you about this. I was reading this book a while ago on Kindle about the history of radionics, and radionics is basically a form of witchcraft which uses technology, and it drew parallels with the use of art and making patterns, with the turning of the dials on the radionics machine, with intention and with basically prayer, in order to try and hope to create the change in the outer world, of which some people are saying today that yeah, that's it. It works. And other people are saying, well, there's a benefit there, but it's not necessarily hard and fast. And then there's someone like me who way back in 1994 went out to Glastonbury, and I found a spiritual healer who did some stuff on me, and I could feel the energy flowing through me when she had like one hand here and one hand there. She was drawing the negative energy out, and I could physically feel the sensation of it. All right, so she knew what she was doing, and I was sufficiently sensitive to be able to receive that happening. So anyway, I'm kind of like going off on a bit of a tangent there. So that book called The Secret Art, I think it was, and it was about radionics, showed that this has been present in society for as long as society has been essentially around. But my point would be that just as a society, let's say you got a society with just 100 people, okay, a tribe of just 100 people, you would still have within the genetic diversity of that particular tribe, in various varying different ratios between tribes, presumably, all of those mentalities. It's all there, and it has to be there for the benefit of the tribe. I don't think people are born the tabula rasa, the completely blank sheets. We're born to find what our skills and talents are, and the environments we want to work in, and how we want to be of benefit for our own profit and also for the benefit of other people simultaneously. Okay, because you can't survive unless you profit sufficiently so you can keep your fridge full of food or your whatever, and you got to be a benefit to society, so society values you to want to keep you in a society. So it appears to me that there's like this evolutionary biological imperative for all these various things. And then of course you'd have someone else who's much more sorcery orientated and spiritual healing orientated and all this kind of stuff. Now with all these divisions throughout your various societies, okay, I think that maybe in modern day era people find that difficult, that there are those distinct differences out there. Okay, and trying to find who's got the right specific skills for a specific task is like what a good tribal leader should actually be. But they'd also have to have knowledge of who's being created for what. In a Scandinavian mythology, there was like some, the whole like Odin, Thor, and all those bearded geezers, right? There was some mythology about 3 different types of people and 3 different classes, and I think that's kind of okay, but it's not quite deep enough. It's not quite nuanced enough. I mean, if they had like really like wise, intelligent tribal leaders in ancient Scandinavia, they could have a much more efficient, cohesive tribe when everyone like was brought to understand what they were, what particular gifts they have to bring. And I do believe that like the magical mindset, the occultic mindset, must have been a part of it. That's why we've got evidence of like cave paintings and all that kind of stuff from like eons ago in like Aboriginal artwork as well. All of which is there to do the same thing. Okay, it's all there to do the same thing, to try and like deal with the problems of life, making sure you got enough food on the plate. Making sure you got enough. Health within the tribe, making sure you got all this stuff going on. Alright? And so there must be this like empathic, emotional desire to help and to heal. It wasn't just a question of, look, I'll give you a gold coin if you do that shit, paint that stuff on the wall. It's more a question of, I'm going to give that gold coin to a person over there who I know will have enough empathy and enough desire to be able to make something happen for me and for my family and for my tribe and for my people. Maybe that's more about what it was all about, but I don't think that magic or witchcraft or whatever it is something which is like completely and utterly destroyed by the scientific world. The strange, weird supernatural experiences, the seeing of ghosts and the astral projections and the prophetic dreams and the angel experiences and all this stuff, they carry on whether we got technology or not. Okay. Science, the age of reason or enlightenment or whatever, in some respects has failed. If its goal was to destroy spirituality now, to challenge dogma, I think is important. you know, because we have to have that. We have to be kept on our toes. We have to be given different ways of looking at life and having a different point of view. Okay? And I think that this is like a really uncomfortable time in history, because like we've got all of it together. All of it together at the same point, and everyone's trying to come to terms with it. And I think that's one of the many reasons that we have neo-paganism. It's not because one particular deity concept is any better than another one, or one particular theology is necessarily any better than another one, or more necessary than another one, or more environmental than another one. It's because like we're all much more aware of these different divisions and these different things that people have been like created for, or brought into existence by nature and by evolutionary biology. And I think it is hard for us humans to work out, but like the whole magical and divination mindsets, and I think those are different. Okay, the spiritual healing mindset is one. Okay, this sort of like sorcery and magic mindset is another. The divination mindset is another, and within divination you got people who want to like look out for lost objects, and you also got those who want to try and be the empathic helper of other people, which I think is much more what I'm doing in reality with my life, with my work, with everything about me. And I think it's down to genetics, and I think that we're designed in a certain way. I think it's like the way that we're built, and it goes back to the fact that even though we're living in buildings, okay, and we're traveling on bicycles and in cars and on buses, okay, and we got cameras and internets, we're still the same creatures. It's just that we're caged now, if that makes any sense. There's, you know, the origin of magic, witchcraft, sorcery, divination, spiritual healing is the origin of humanity, and its history is the history of humanity trying to come to terms with stuff which it can't, because we want to simplify. We want everything the same. We want everyone the same, and that's never going to happen ever, under any circumstances. And that's what we've got to come to terms with. And it's going to be hard, but we got to do it.